So this landed in my email inbox on Monday, a news release saying the government is taking action to address recommendations in a new report on the firefighting response to the historic Barrington Lake and Tantallon wildfires last year. As you remember, the Barrington Lake fire, the largest in recorded history in Nova Scotia, burning 23,379 hectares. The Tantallon wildfire burned 969 hectares, and combined they destroyed more than 200 homes. Now, that release referenced something called the 2023 Nova Scotia Wildfire After Action Report. And it was, at least according to government, a response that was successfully coordinated and conducted, with the collaborative approach to emergency management working well, and they made several recommendations. Now, the department has already started implementing some of them, and it did offer us a chance to speak with Jim Rudderham. He's Director of Fleet and Forest Protection for Department of Natural Resources and Renewables. This is my podcast called Thinking Out Loud, presented to you by SaltWire. In 2023, there were 220 wildfires in Nova Scotia, burning about 25,000 hectares. And all eyes are on the Burnsafe Map and on ways to prevent a similar situation in 2024.
Jim Rudderham, Jim Rudderham. I'm the Director for Fleet and Forest Protection for Natural Resources and Renewables.
This morning, some rain in Nova Scotia. The Burnsafe Map today is yellow. I see there's an update from Natural Resources Renewables about some of the progress moving forward. I want to look to the immediate right now. What is the current status? I've seen some concern over the amount of moisture and the risk to firefighter in Nova Scotia right now.
Yeah, so we had quite a drying trend last week. The weekend, most of the mainland was in a no burn situation. With the exception of one county. We did get a little bit of moisture last evening, which we will take moisture whenever we can get it, but it's not a lot, as representing by still a restricted burning today. And if we get a nice warm day tomorrow, and the rest of the week, we'll be back into no burning as well very quickly.
Can you help people understand why, first of all, this time of year, just before the leaves come out, is especially of concern to the wildfire risk?
Yep. So this is our green up time of year. The trees are drawing a lot of moisture to grow their leaves. Softwoods as well are growing more needles. So the tree is dry because they're starting to do their processes to get going for the season. Plus, all the surface fuels are very dry as well this time of year because it dries very fast. So it's because fire can burn so fast over the surface right now, and the trees themselves are dry. It can cause fires to burn very quickly and very rapidly this time of year.
And I hate to do this to you, but asking to explain the rules as they exist so people can perhaps.
I would love to.
First of all, full credit to the department for putting the previous day's burn map, or to turn it to red in the day at the time when burning is not allowed. I think that's an incredible visual, and I think that's going to help. Could you talk about why some people feel it's counterintuitive that the map is yellow, that you would be allowed to burn between midnight and 8 a.m.? They think that, well, if it's a ban, it's a ban, and you shouldn't be allowed to burn. Someone actually said, what, fire doesn't burn at night?
Right. So can I explain the conditions and why we set them that way? So our burn restrictions are updated every day at 2:00. And that's important because the National Fire Danger Rating System, we take weather readings at the same time at 1:00. And these are real weather. It's not based on forecasts because we live on a peninsula in the North Atlantic. It's very important people understand that. Forecasts can change very quickly. Actual weather doesn't change. That's what's actually taking place. So that's what we record. So you can't burn any day between 8 and 2 because we don't know what's going to happen at 2. I understand that on a day that it's raining, it's probably going to be that green at 2:00. Doesn't matter. You can't burn between 8 and 2 because if you were allowed to burn and the conditions worsened, your fire is likely going to spread, or at 2:00, it's going to be near impossible to put it out. So that's why that rule is in place. At 2:00, the weather reading is done. It comes from all of our weather stations around the province. It's communicated to the public through our Burnsafe website and our phone line, and it's based on a county. And this is a cumulative reading that starts at the very start of fire season. Actually, it can start before that, depending on when the snow leaves your area. And it allows us to see how dry all the fuels are. Surface fuels are the grasses and the small leaves. They burn very quickly. But as we get into the season, as things get drier and drier, the fuels in the ground get drier and drier, and our fires will burn deep. That's what happened last spring. The fires burned deep because we had a couple months of good drought, or not good drought. We had a couple months of drought. As we go through the fire season, if we get a fire in August and things get drier as we go, the fires can burn extremely deep. It takes a long time to put them out. So that's why the burn restrictions are as they are. And it is based on science. So if you can safely burn, you're allowed to burn at 2. If you can, it's at 7. And if you can't burn at all. And that's how they're set.
I'll stay away from some of my other opinions about people not respecting that for this particular reason because of the release that came out today. As we are approaching the 1-year anniversary, I happen to be in Tantallon over the weekend. We can see that some of the old burned timber is being harvested. It's being taken out, so that fuel is being removed. So hopefully that will lessen any type of overburn in those areas that have burned already. I'm sure that there are still areas of the province that were hit devastated by Dorian and other major hurricane events that caused windfall. So overall, how do you see the risk of forest fire in Nova Scotia, and what can be done to mitigate the fuel sources that are out there?
Sure. Well, it's a majority of the 70% of this province is privately owned. So it's really incumbent on landowners to clean up their properties or however they want to manage their properties. That's their prerogative, what they want to do. I know we had a lot of blowdowns, a lot of stuff from different things as well. We're aware of those areas. We know where they exist. Our staff are certainly live in those areas, so they know what to expect as well too. So there's a good situational awareness of what's out there and what they can expect should there be a fire for sure.
The province released a statement today that they're very pleased with the progress and they are working to take action to address recommendations in the report on the firefighting response. What has changed? What is different in 2024 that was not in place this time of year last year?
So we, as you were well aware, we had 2 unprecedented fires occur at the same time last year, which is why we commissioned the report from an outside agency. We used a lot of people within our own department that normally aren't employed to fight wildfires. We recognized some talents there. Everyone came to help. So those people never were involved with wildfires before. Now they have that awareness. Now we have an idea who's out there and what their skill set can be. It's not all just pushing a hose through the woods. There's a lot of other jobs as well that have to be done. We worked with a lot of agencies last year that also are not involved in wildfire fighting. So now they have an awareness, we have an awareness of them, and we've already started talks on how we can do things better should that ever happen again, about whose roles are what and what we can expect each other to do and where we can help each other.
It also makes note of some wildfire training that was offered through the Department of Natural Resources Renewables. I could show you my card, just took the course a few weeks ago. What is it you want volunteer agencies to know about what is out there for their support, for them to be able to help in the case of a wildfire?
Sure. Well, we've had long-standing arrangements and agreements and work cooperation with the Fire Service Association of Nova Scotia. That's FSANS, who are the overarching group for the municipal fire departments. We've offered that training. We built that training in conjunction with FSANS and other municipal fire departments to offer a course that would help give firefighters a basic idea of wildfire fighting, which is completely different, of course, than fighting a structure fire. So that's been offered. We do offer some equipment to help them as well. So we work long time with them, and we continue. We value the support that they give us. We always have, and we continue to. So that's a good cooperation for sure.
The course that volunteer firefighters were offered specifically through the province, it's available for folks if they want to review that. It's online. It's easy enough to find. But there was another program offered through FSANS, which was essentially another contingent of firefighters who may be in the volunteer service who want to step forward for additional training. Where is that at? I heard there were as many as 40 or so that made the final cut.
Yeah, so that was our wildfire fighter reserve that we started last year during the heat of the battle with the fires. We did need extra help. We had so many people asking to help fight the wildfires. We really don't have a mechanism to hire people. We certainly didn't have capacity at the time to train or outfit people with gear. So in conjunction with FSANS again, we asked for their help with that because a lot of these people were volunteer firefighters from other parts of the province. And we said if you had the basic wildfire course through the department with FSANS, with your department, and you had your PPE and you were willing to come and pass and work, take our physical fitness training as well, because that's a requirement. We had to pass our level for that. And we did that during the battle. And we did hire 24 people to help fight in Tant and Barrington Lake last year. And that all took place during that week. So this year, that's already been done. The call went up by FSANS in the winter. We completed our physical fitness training already, and we have 60 people that are available and have passed all the levels they need to get to help us fight fires should we need them. And to be quite honest, I've told many people, I really hope we don't need them, but at least the work is done now. And if we do need them, they're ready to go and we're ready to accept them.
The release also takes note of this new volunteer corps, the Nova Scotia Guard. What do you envision? How will it work or perhaps respond to a wildfire in particular?
Yeah, we really don't know that yet, but I'm looking forward to continue talks with people about that, to have a structure in place that can coordinate volunteers and help us find out what the volunteer skill set is and where their aptitudes are. Will be very helpful for many situations should they happen. So I'm waiting to see how that's going to pan out and looking forward to that.
The department, as you say, had 300 wildland firefighters throughout the province, hundreds more volunteer municipal firefighters, as well as equipment. I know the announcement was made that helicopters are going to be replaced. Where are you at in the process there?
That they are going to be replaced. They will probably all be in place in the next 3 years. It takes a while to build them and get them into circulation.
Has there ever been any interest under the Emergencies Act to, well, and quite honestly, ask some of the private corporations that own helicopters to add their fleet or make their fleet available to the province?
We did last year. We did use very many of them. They came and they helped and they worked with us with our air services as well. So it has happened in the past, and I hate to say it. I hope it doesn't happen again, but if it does, we're prepared for that as well.
Is Jim Rudderham making a case that a water bomber is needed?
We have 4 water bombers. We call them helicopters, and they work very well for us. In the last 10 years, they've responded to so many fires that people don't even know about. In the last 10 years, we've had to call for external fixed wing water bombers 4 times. So we are paying attention to that. We always explore our options. We do have agreements with other parts of the country that we can pull those in when we need them, and we have done that. So we continue to watch that, and we continue to see where our trends are taking us.
Based on the training I had, you've got 20 minutes from the time a wildfire starts until it gets to a point where it's going to need serious intervention. You're confident that resources are in place in the parts of the province where fewer humans live and perhaps more, it may be a little farther from a place where people can be mustered to help?
Yeah, I am. We've done it for many, many years. We station our helicopters around the province, depending on the hazard, wherever they have to be. On the weekend, there was one in McGowan Lake ready to go, one here in Shubenacadie. They're where they have to be to get the quickest response they can get. Plus, we have our crews who are all around the province, and they're ready to respond as well. And they're on call. I mean, they're working during the fire season. They work every day of the week. Depending if they're scheduled to work every day of the week. So they're there as well. So.
We can go back in time because I know I asked you this in the past. The fire towers and the decommissioning of those. Why was that technology no longer, or why were these specifically not safe to use, or why was there not a plan to replace them? Curious.
So we replaced that system with fixed wing detection. So on the days that we need, through the fire, through our weather, days that we need fire detection, we send planes up. We have a contract with an external provider for that. and they fly predetermined routes, and we send them up, and we know, say for instance, you fly Western 1 today, or you fly Western 2 today, or Eastern, whichever it might be. They're all predetermined routes, and they fly on the days that we need them. And it's a very good service. They can pinpoint where the fire is much closer than a fire tower can. We should have used triangulation with the fire towers. These can circle the fire, and we can track them in our duty room and our fire center, and we can see where the fire is. And then the plane can tell us what's going on with that fire. Like the towers could never do that. So it was the fire towers were a big part of our history, and that's in this department, and that's changed over the years. Almost all of our fires are started by people. Most everybody has a cell phone now. The fires are reported, but again, we do fly the planes on the days that we need them, and they can give us much better information than the fire towers could.
I will dispute the fact that not that everyone has a cell phone, but that people actually know where they are and
Correct.
what it is that they're seeing. And I've been dispatched to smoke, but it was dust from the car tires in front. People who saw clouds and called it in as a fire call. People who are, I don't know where it was. I was just driving and I saw it, and it's your job to go chase it. What do you say to fire departments who will be likely tasked with chasing smoke in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, and we do as well. It's just we get calls from that, and we have to respond to those fires as well. The lack of a fire tower doesn't change that. All the tower could do as well was show us a smoke, and we went to it. So it's part of the business, unfortunately. So
anything in that report that stood out to you that perhaps might be, long-term vision and not immediate action?
I like the talk of the other groups that we worked with last year that we didn't historically work with, the other NGOs, the other government agencies. A lot of people were actioned in groups that we've never worked with before, so that increases our knowledge, it increases our capacity to do things better in the future. So that was good. We'll continue those talks as well with those different groups.
Firefighters are an expense until there's a fire. They're a liability on a spreadsheet. Do you have enough resource? Do you have enough people?
I think so. Yes, we do. We can draw from other agencies if we have to, but we do for the majority of our fires. We're well taken care of for that. Yes.
Anything else that we can add to this conversation, Jim?
If I can make a plug for fire prevention, that would be the biggest thing. The majority of our fires are started by people. It's everybody's responsibility to help these fires never start. So if you're going to have an open fire during the fire season, you must check our burn restrictions daily, and you must follow them. And if you do decide to light a fire, make sure that you have a way to put it out. Make sure that you have a way to call for help should you need to call for help. So it really falls to the public to help everybody. It's everyone's responsibility. We need people to help and start understanding that is real. So.
I know there was a charge late in the Barrington fire, the Barrington Lake fire, not so in Tantallon. Is there adequate enforcement? Are all the pieces in place for people who don't respect the rules to be held to account? They
are, yes. And we have to follow the rules of the law as well, and go through those steps and those motions, which we do. So.
I know you get tired of answering the same questions, but there's value in this. So Jim Rudderham, thank you for this.
No, thank you, Sheldon. Appreciate your time.
This has been Thinking Out Loud, presented to you by SaltWire. I'm Sheldon McLeod. Thanks for listening.